There we go, we're live. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Mediumship Matters. I'm Hannah Macintyre, and today I am talking to the wonderful Bev Pirie, a clairvoyant medium from Swinton, Manchester. Hi, Bev, thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Anna, and thank you for inviting me.
No worries. So if you could start by just introducing yourself a little bit and telling everybody what you do.
Yeah, sure. Well, first and foremost, I have a huge family, friends, and that is equally as important to me as my mediumship. But I'm full-time, work as a medium full-time. I have my own space. I work from home. I also work online. I have clients outside of the UK. I also do healing. I do Reiki, Indian head massage, holistics. And I also love to teach. So I have my own awareness class, and I also have my own wellbeing retreat business. So yeah, very busy.
Yeah, very busy indeed. Amazing. So when you say you work as a medium, is that talking to loved ones in spirit, oracle cards, bit of both? How does that work for you?
Okay, so I tend to work face to face with spirit. So I connect with spirit, and the clients that I see, they really mainly come to me to connect with loved ones, and that's my passion, and that is what I actually do. I love to connect with spirit because it's the most amazing thing to see people actually learning to understand there is another world and the healing that goes with that. And then sometimes I do oracle cards on the live Facebook, because sometimes people just want a little bit of guidance, a little bit of upliftment to know that things are going to change. And if they're going through something, I can connect. But what happens to this, and this is, Anna, you do this as well, is that we'll pick up oracle cards and then we look at the person's profile and we're connecting with the person. The card is just a starting point.
Definitely.
So it's a little bit of everything, if I'm honest, and I always go intuitively. People say it's psychic. We're all psychic. Everybody's psychic, not just ourselves. Everybody has the ability to connect. It's just knowing the mechanicals and all of that kind of thing. But yeah, so it's a bit of everything, if I'm honest.
Excellent. Sounds amazing. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a bit of everything too. Love it all. Could never pick. So tell us, how did you start on your journey? Was there a calling for you, or did you just fall into it?
Well, from a very small child, I was aware of spirit. I didn't know that there was spirit. And I used to see things, I would see visions, I had all kinds of experiences. And going through life, I was the child that was upside down on the ballerina bench. I never fitted in. I was always chatting to somebody that wasn't there. The teachers often used to take my mum, call her into school and say, she's a chatterbox, but she chats to nothing. She chats to herself, she goes off, she walks out of class, we look out into the playground and she's hanging on upside down on those swinging and she's out on her own and we can't contain her in a classroom. So it was like that right from the very beginning. And then obviously you get into teenagers and we have a life. Moving into adult, I was mum very early on. I was a mum very early. So I was already aware and I was already connecting with spirit, because I would give people random guidance and I wouldn't even understand where it was coming from. I used to just say, it's just me. It's just something I do. So I didn't really have a kind of set format. I was just very, very aware. And then when I had the children, 2 girls, they were just a little over 2 years apart, and I became very busy. But I kept having these experiences where I would have this knowing that things were going to change, and this knowing that I was going to bump into somebody, and all these kind of things. And really, to be honest, my mind became very busy with being a mum. So I kind of, a lot of the time, just ignored it and let it move on, because that's what you do in life. We tend to just move things along. And then, of course, life moves you along and there's always events. So every single time there was an event, I would have some connection to spirit, always. And then I had some passings in life. And then I started to feel spirit around me. And I actually think that a certain member of the family is with me. And but I had nowhere to go with that. There was nowhere. It was kind of like, well, this is just who you are and what you're about. And I had to push it away, but I was very, 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 very lucky to fall in love with an amazing man who's my hubby and been with me for 34 years. Because right from the very beginning, I could tell him, and he didn't think I was mad. He didn't encourage me because, you know, he was a little scared, I think, and a bit unsure. And he was a bit on the fence. But over time, he began to see, and he could hear me, and he could have the conversation, and he'd see me work, or he'd see me do something, and then he'd call me a bit freaky, and he'd call me a witch and all that kind of stuff, you know, and giggle on it. So it just progressed on it, and it just became more and more and more. And then around about 2011, life-changing things happened. 2012, major things happened, a whole different story. But in this tragic and these difficult years, something in me started to lift up, and a friend of mine said to me, I think you need to go to a spiritualist church and come and have a sit in the church, Bev, and I'm sure you'll love it. And because I was talking on this particular weekend about all these things that had happened to me throughout my life, and that I felt as if something inside me was a calling, but I didn't know what it was, and I certainly didn't understand it. But when I was, I'll go back a little, but when I was about 25, I went to Aworth for the day, and with my husband, and basically went for a reading in the Spooks bookshop, which is number 22. And in Aworth, I went down to the basement, and Tom there was the reader and the spiritualist and tarot reader. And when I went in, he said to me, my God, you know, you've got the biggest team behind you. You've got a huge shamanic guide. You've got a Chinese man, you've got a Victorian lady. And he listed these people. And I just thought, he's bananas. He's really is something, you know, what am I doing in this room? He told me I would be sitting on the other side of that table, and that I would be helping people in profound ways, and I wouldn't fully appreciate it nor understand it until I was much older. And I, honest to goodness, thought he is talking a load of, and I didn't take him on. And I came out, and my husband said, well, how did you get on? And I said, rubbish. And I walked away. I seriously walked away and did not think anything of it. It played on my mind a little, as it would, but it soon got filled with life. So when it came to this friend saying, come to the spiritualist church, I walked into the spiritualist church, and I felt like I could come home, because everybody in there was doing what I was doing in terms of feeling the energy, going in and having an open mind. And that's all I needed. And I went to this church with this friend, and it literally changed my life. Because the minute I walked in the church, I felt like I'd come home, like my soul had come home. In other words, I could understand. And I just kept getting lots of messages from the podium saying, you do realise you'll be working for spirit? You do realise that you've got a God-given gift? You do, you know, and it just on repeat. And then probably about 7 or 8 years ago, I started to take it really seriously. And then 4 years ago, I had to retire from work because I was so busy trying to work, run a home, and then do my mediumship. I got a call in to open a Facebook page, and I got my first booking in 30 minutes, and I've never looked back. And so it's been incredible, because as soon as I opened up and started to do awareness and development in the church for a couple of years, and do workshops here, there, and everywhere, and get as much knowledge as I could, and find out as much information as I could, and sit with personal home group circles, and I've done all sorts of, you know, on the lead up to it and during it, actually. And the more I could learn and the more I could understand, the more I did. And it just became more and more and more my life. And I thought, this is what I've been doing all my life, but didn't understand it. And now I do. And now I get to do it all the time, every day almost. And I get to have such gratitude for it, to help so many people. And now I get to share my knowledge, and I get to help other people to have a starting point. Yeah. So it's just been my entire life, but just not realizing it.
Amazing. I love it. What a great story. And obviously we met, didn't we, on that
we did.
journey at college, based on
which was Arthur Finley College, and we just had this crazy weekend, which we had the most crazy weekend for very different reasons, but we actually got so much out of it individually and as a group. And we came as this little trio. We ended up being a trio over the weekend, and we sat in the library, and we had some amazing experiences. We saw spirits smiling in, do you remember, in the pictures? And we saw orbs live, and we saw amazing experiences. And actually all of that was, it's sort of super fast, you know, it's such a super, what's the word I'm looking for, kind of surpassed what we were going there for. the experiences that we were having in that space, and we were all interacting with our lives, and we were all chatting about our lives, and we all kind of overlapped each other, and we knew that we were all supposed to meet there, so that we could help each other in our
and it was funny because we'd all held ourselves back and put ourselves in the learning beginners group,
and we
then ended up with all these people that had never connected to spirit, never read a card, and we were like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be in this group. But there was obviously a reason why the three of us had to be in there.
And we've still continued to say hello to each other, and we've still continued to watch each other's journey and help each other and support each other. And our other trio member is Annette Jackson, the lovely Annette.
Who I've already interviewed. She was my first interview. So
amazing. I love it. That's amazing. So so we were meant to meet, and so that's it. That's basically I say that's it as though it's so flippant. It's really not. It's so much more than that. It's like a web, you know. It just interwoven in my entire life, and the amounts of people that I just helped, random strangers on holiday, and you know, don't ever mix spirit with mixed spirit though, please. Because you just open up, and there's none of that, you know. You can't stop. So I don't do that anymore. Not at all.
Okay, so tell us the story. I know you've had loads, so this is probably going to be really hard for you to pick, but tell us about one of your most profound experiences.
Oh my word, profound experiences. It's been, honestly, and how do you quantify it? Do you mean in terms of, well, a profound experience that I had that happened to me? One that I can think of off the top of my head, actually, if I'm honest, was I was in Bridge Street, Manchester. This was at the time when things were about to change in the biggest way on my spiritual journey that I didn't realise at the time. And I was in work working for RBS, and I'd been there for many years, and I'd had health issues and related to my body, but also exaggerated by stress in work and stress at home. And I was very, very poorly. And I was leaving work one winter's day, and it was incredibly hard wind, you know, that chill wind that cuts you through. And I had just missed my bus. It passed me as I got to the end of the road, and I had no energy to run for it. And I was you know, one of those moments when you just want to stop. And that's what happened. So I get around the corner and I go to the bus stop, and there's not a soul at this bus stop, and there's not a soul in the street. And it was really eerie and really strange, because Bridge Street is normally one of the busiest bottlenecks going into Manchester city centre. And for some reason, it was just completely and utterly dead. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The most bizarre thing. I now understand what it was, but I didn't at the time. I walked into the bus stop, and I was stood there, and I was just saying naughty words in my head about missing this bus, and so frustrated. I just wanted to get home and get warm. I was tired. It'd been a horrendous day, and I was trying to hold myself together. And anyway, I was literally looking up the road, and I turned around, and there was this gentleman walks towards me. He was just wearing all black. That's all I remember. Wearing all black, had dark hair, tall, slender. Came towards me, and as he came toward, he made me jump. As he came towards me, I have to show you. As he came towards me, and I'm looking up the street, and next minute he's here. And I'd say, when I'm saying here, he was about 1.5 feet away of me. And as he was in my vision, and I just went, oh, like this. And he goes, oh, one moment, just stand there. And he went over to me, and he went like this into my hair. And he pulled out a feather, a white feather. And he said, oh, you know what they say, don't you, about feathers? And I said, yes. When a feather's near, your angels are near, you know. And I said, yes, it's about angels. And he said, absolutely, you must have an angel looking after you. And I went, oh, thank you. Well, I was a bit scared because there was nobody around, and he really jolted me, and he made me quite nervous. I really did get a bit upset. I was like, you know, inside I was thinking, who is this person? And he's just gone so personal, close into my bubble. And I had a little bit of a moment. And I looked up to say, God, please let there be a bus coming. And I looked up, and when I looked back, he was gone. And I looked around, and I looked on the street, and he wasn't ahead of me, and he wasn't over there, and he wasn't over there, and he was nowhere. And I got the chills. And I looked up, and my bus number came down the street, literally within 30 seconds. And I'm not exaggerating. The bus turned up, and the lights changed, and all of a sudden there was traffic on the road. I've got goose pimples telling you.
Yeah, oh, it's making me cry.
Honest to
I've
God.
got eyeliner on, Bev. Do you mind?
Sorry, mate. And honestly, it was so moving. And I got on the bus, paid to get on the bus, and I sat on the bus and I quietly wept because I know now he was an angel and he was coming to tell me that everything was going to change in my life, and I had to hold on. And he'd helped because he basically stopped time. He stopped time, Anna. I know he stopped time. I'll never forget that moment as long as I live. And about a couple of months in, I was so poorly, and eventually I went and gone and got help. But I had a bit of a meltdown about 2 months later. I was on the verge of a breakdown. I hadn't realised. I thought, when you think you're being brave and you're showing this great facade, it wasn't working anymore. And I had a meltdown, and I actually ended up walking out on an horrendously stormy night afternoon with my dog. I had a row with my husband, and it was awful, and which we don't very, very often row. And it was a lot of pressure, and lots of things were going on. I was very, very poorly. Anyway, I ended up wandering off, and this is at the point when I got to what I call the end of the line, and I was suicidal, and I was really in a bad way, and I disappeared with the dog in the intention of not coming back. And I went and I found myself in a field in woods nearby, not too far from my house, about just over half a mile away. And all I had was what I was wearing, which was a pair of jeans, a pair of little pumps, and a sort of semi kind of hoodie, not even a hoodie. And I was absolutely saturated. And I walked to this field, and I sat on the floor in this field, and I absolutely sobbed and asked for help and said, I don't know what to do, because I don't want to be here anymore, because I've never felt so sad in all my life. I've never been in such a dark place. And I'd been hiding it and pretending for such a long time. And I'd just got to the end of the line, and I was in such a bad way. And I remember Claire on the floor saying, I need to find a tree. I was ready to talk. And there's no two ways about it. I'd had enough. And I got told in my mind, in this voice in my head, as strong as anything, all I heard was trust. That's it. Just the word trust. And I just remember everything, like on the bridge street, everything stopped. The bird's noise stopped. The rain stopped. It suddenly stopped. And I turned around and I looked in the sky, and there was the most amazing rainbow in the sky. And it gets me emotional. So, I see this rainbow, and I thought, oh my God, everything's going to change. Everything's going to change. And I put myself up off the floor, and I went home, and I walked through the door like this drenched rat. And my husband just said, are you okay? And I said, what we're going to do? And he goes, we're going to sell. And we sold our home. And Spirit showed me the house we're in now. And I bought this house, and literally everything changed. My entire journey changed. My health changed. My mental health changed. I basically left the home, started a new home, created a vision board. I really started to build myself up, started looking into my mediumship and making things more, and bringing life and gratitude in every day, talking to the angels every day, thanking them for saving me, for helping me. We were here a year. We've been here 6 years. We were here a year, and the first client started coming through the door, and everything's changed. And I cannot tell you how profound my life has become, because I trusted. I went home and I trusted. And Spirit have had my back all my life, but even more now. And it's been profound.
Because you let them. Because you let them in. Yeah.
I let them in.
Wow. I love it. Thank you for sharing all of that.
Honestly, because and I'm always talking about hope, and I'm always talking about mental health and positivity, and driving that from the mind and the power of your thought and the power of reality, and that this is a matrix, and we're playing this out, and it's everything that we can do anything. We have the power to do anything. And it was, and that's what my life's become. It's a powerful affirmation to say that we can go from darkness into light. And we so can.
We can. I love it. Amazing. Okay, so we've talked about how you've progressed. Talk to me about how your work's progressed. What's changed for you from the beginning to now?
So in the beginning, very nervous when I made that decision, when I had the inclination to, I just heard it in my mind, set up a Facebook page, and I was like, I don't think so. You know, people are going to think I'm a witch. People are not going to understand me. My family are going to, you know, everyone's going to go, where's all this come from? I mean, some of the people that have known me all my life or a long time will have already known that I had that kind of, I've always had that kind of knowing, but to go public, as they say, to come out such, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. So I think from the point of view of actually trusting, within the last 5 years, I think when I opened up my Facebook page and I took my first reading, I was very nervous. And although I'd done awareness and development classes in church for a little while, and I'd done a couple of private circles, and I'd really got a lot out of those, I was very nervous, and I just gave the best that I could, and I didn't understand the messages, and I didn't understand the symbolism, and I didn't understand the feelings and all of that kind of thing that comes with it, because we don't just rock up and nor does spirit in that respect. There is a communication, and there is a sort of a contract, if you like, that, you know, and that we have to fine tune. And there's so much responsibility and dedication that comes to this. We don't just turn up, and do you know, understand? It's so hard that you have to be dedicated. You have to meditate. You have to look after yourself. You have to look after your mental health. You have to have the ability to listen to intuition, to listen to your helpers, even if you don't know your guides and helpers. You listen to that intuition, your higher self, your calling. It comes in lots of layers, but in the very beginning, I didn't understand any of that, and I kind of just gave what I gave. It was a bit of a, you know, no kind of construction, nothing like that. And I am very organic, and I prefer to be that way, and I still am to some respect. But over the last 5 years, I think what I've noticed is I have a lot more understanding about how spirit work with me, and I understand how I connect now, and I understand what they need to share and how they need to share, and how symbolisms for me and how they place things into my mind. Because a lot of what we do in regards to mediumship is mental mediumship, where we actually have a conversation in our mind, almost like your consciousness or your conscious. So when you're telling yourself to don't be buying the sweets, it's the same thing as spirit saying, I'm here for my daughter. Yes. It's the same kind of thing. So the mechanics of mediumship is not unlike an animal thought. It's just, it's amplified, and you know it's not yours.
Yeah.
So the mechanics work, you understand the mechanics, and then you understand they use the symbolism to get you to say something. So they'll show you a tin of box of chocolates, and it might have, there might be specific chocolates, and it might be a picture on the chocolates that's important, not the chocolates. They just need to get your attention.
Yeah.
And so it's this kind, but these are what I call the tools for the toolbox. So we grow the tools for the toolbox, and we create that, and over time we fine tune, and every time we're fine tuning, we're becoming better at what we do, and we build the confidence, and so it becomes far more fluid and far more, you know, it's just like anything. When you start on a computer course, or you learn to use the computer, you don't know how it works, and eventually over time and practicing, we learn more and we understand, and then we become a little bit of a whiz. Well, it's the same thing as mediumship. Over time we become better and we understand it that bit more, and then they'll throw a spanner in the works. Yeah,
for sure.
They'll get you to do something completely different. So when you say how has it changed, it's just I've learned more, and it's become organic, and it's become more flowing, and I can sense things, and I love trance mediumship, and I love sitting in deep energy, and I love all of that. And there's lots and lots and lots of aspects. As you know, the umbrella of mediumship, it's not like one shoe fits all. It's not one size fits all. It really isn't. Spirit know what you're good at, and they'll give you that job first, and then they'll show you what you've got potential.
Yes.
And that's what happens. You just build up, and build up, and then you get the healing comes in. You often want to be coming to the healing side of it. So Reiki is very popular for that, for tuning you in, crystal healing, angelic. And then some people go into that kind of field as well, because it's not just the healing through the word and the action of mediumship, but also the physical hands-on healing. And then it becomes complementary. So it's to be honest, it's become organic. I've just allowed it to be what it is. And now I feel like I'm still learning every day. Spirit will show me something new all the time. And I'll be like, oh, that's what that means.
I know, the more
the toolbox,
the more you learn, the more you know you don't know anything. That's what I find.
Absolutely. Because there's not one, you will never be the best.
No.
It's not about competition, it's about equality. It's not about I'm better than that person. I'm international and I'm not international. It's none of that. You don't give yourself a label. You just go spiritual medium. If somebody doesn't understand what the spirit means, it means you connect with them. There's psychic mediums, there's clairvoyant, future seers, there's oracle cards, there's a whole host of labels you can give yourself. But I try not to give myself it. I just say I'm a medium, I'm a working medium. And if someone asks me what it is I do, I go, I do a bit of everything, but my passion is to connect with spirit. But and it's just evolved, it's naturally evolved. But now because it's evolved, it's allowed me to do more and allowed me to help more people in unique ways.
Yeah, indeed. And I'm so glad to hear you talking about the time that it's taken and the journey that you've had, because I interviewed another medium called Paul last week, and he was mentioning, we are, I think, facing a real time where people are trying to bypass. You can't do a weekend course and set yourself up as a medium, because you've got to do the work.
Not in my opinion, no.
It's and it brings up so much stuff for yourself that you need to process as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So,
because what will happen is it shifts the viewpoint that you have, and you start to live life art-based. So everything changes and people don't get you, and that's okay. And family members won't get you, and that's okay. And you may leave your job, and that's okay. It's fine, because it's your journey, it's your mediumship journey, it's an onward journey. So it becomes organic in the very nature of it. And yes, there are many people that wish to just have a pop-up mediumship course and then everything's okay and you've got it and you can go on and set yourself up. Well, that's okay. And if you are successful by doing it that way, then good on you, as long as you're doing the right work for spirit. Because if you're not, it won't last. Yeah. The spirit will take it away, because I've seen it happen.
Yeah,
you have to be so respectful.
Yes.
And so I understand what he means when he says about our this pop-up mediumship, how people are trying to do online courses. I'm all for education, and if that's all you can do because you can't get to a class, amazing.
Yes.
But if you can go to someone who's doing it and they'll offer you one-to-one mentorship, then you probably get more from it.
Yeah, indeed. And I think it's just because it grows and you change and you shift, it needs time. Yes. It's I don't think there's any other way of dressing it up. When I look at me when I started versus now, I've needed lots of time to progress and change and learn about me, because mediumship's a personal journey, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, absolutely. What I do and how I work is completely different to how somebody else does. I mean, exactly. I know at the moment there's a lot of courses that are online due to the circumstances that we're in. And if that's a lifeline for someone and it assists someone, amazing. But there's nothing better than a home circle or sitting in the actual energy with others rather than from a machine. It works for some, it doesn't work for all. But at the moment, that seems to be the most popular because of the circumstances. Yeah. But before what was happening in the world currently, there already seemed to be that need for people to do online. Everything was becoming online, and to me it feels a lot, it's quite impersonal as well. There's nothing, in some ways there's nothing nicer than standing with a very well-versed medium who's been around for a very long time and has seen it all and done it all and has a massive amount of wisdom to share. There's nothing nicer than sitting in the energy on a workshop with somebody like that, as opposed to sitting on a machine in front of a machine where you may still get that. But I feel like it's the feeling. I just love to be with people. So I find technology for me, it serves its purpose, but I prefer being with the people somehow. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. It's really interesting. I mean, I'm doing lots of online work, But
Absolutely.
I think there's different degrees of online work, and and different things work for different people at different times.
Exactly.
And like you say, for some people it is their only opportunity to connect
Absolutely.
to spirit, and and then for others, I've got people that I haven't seen for months who I miss terribly, who don't work online at all.
And currently I'm doing all mine through the online service, and if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to help the spirit. So I'm very, very grateful for it. I'm saying that there's different ways that people can go about learning, and the internet is easier, and because of babysitting and time and everything, so it has its place. But we do also have that sort of feeling of the pop-up mediumship, and it's just to say, whatever way or whichever road or channel you decide to go down on this journey in terms of learning, it will take time, and you can't fast track it. It will just take time for you to understand, and for spirit to learn and trust you as you learn and trust them. And there's so many elements to the mechanics of mediumship. It's expansive. It's huge. It's huge. And really so is. It's an ongoing journey. So it's wherever you pick it up from, or wherever wherever it starts for you, whether it be in a church, home circle, with a friend, on the internet, whichever way you do it, just be mindful that you can't just pick it up and go with it, and that'll be it. It's a case of learning and working, and it's like anything that you learn, an apprenticeship. It's an apprenticeship, and it will be for life. If you want it to be, it will be for life.
Completely agree. So what would you, if someone's watching this and they're just starting to think they're interested in connecting to spirit, but they've got no idea where to start, what would you advise them to do?
Probably, if they want to feel spirit, or they want to have a sense of understanding the energy of spirit in a physical, but they don't want to commit, if you go to a spiritualist church, then you can sit in the energy of the spiritualist church, and you can see the mediums on the podium, and you can see them working in a more not free, because there are rules within the SNAU, which is Spiritual National Union. Can't speak to them. Kirsty, could you deal with that, please, darling? Sorry, someone's at the door. Always the same, always the way, isn't it? So if you go into a church, it's for some people that may just make them feel like really at home. They can have conversations with the mediums, they can understand, they can find out if there's awareness classes and development classes. If they don't think that that's for them, you can go online and see if there's any courses, something that kind of like maybe a local circle, or someone who's offering workshops. Go to workshops, read books, go online and watch really good mediums. There's an absolute plethora of information out there, and I would say go with how you feel, go with the gut, go with how you feel, because ultimately wherever you're drawn, and if it keeps coming up on repeat and you're not doing anything about it, that's spirit going. Because so many times you go, oh, I'm not going, and I don't really want to go there, or I don't want to do this, and then it comes on repeat and on repeat, and it comes to you through a friend, and it'll come through to Facebook, and it'll come through in other ways. The spirit will always get you where you're supposed to be. They'll always guide you to where you're supposed to be. So there is a lot of different ways that you can actually, there's some amazing books out there. There are some amazing people that do this online because it's they're passionate about doing it online because of their own needs, because they may work full time but want to do this and help others. So there's lots and lots of different ways. But what I would say is trust and have a go. If it doesn't feel right, you'll know. Mm-hmm. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I walked into a spiritualist church, and all I felt was, wow, everybody in this room is actually thinking the same as me. This is amazing. And everybody in this room is so desperate for a message from a loved one. And I wasn't desperate for a message. I just wanted to know what it was all about. Yeah. And then to see people work, and true mediums that have been around a very long time and got, capacity, amazing capacity. Just to watch is in itself is wonderful, to see people get, the pockets of information. So yeah, there's lots and lots and lots of different ways that you can go about doing it, but you just see how you feel. Just go with your gut, and that's all I could really advise, because but like I say, spirit will guide you.
They will indeed, or try to, if you listen.
Well, they'll try to if you listen.
Yeah. Okay, and as you were talking about books, then you've contributed to a book as a group of authors, I believe. So tell us a
Yes.
bit about that.
Yes. So it was about 18 months ago. I was. It's a collective. It's a group of people that have created these little pocket books, and each of the books I've got information about. So whatever the story might be, or whatever the theme may be. And mine, it's creating a life from the experience of suicide. So it can be near-death experiences, attempted suicides, people that have gone to the edge of the abyss, and how they've come from it, and how they've created a life from it, and how things have evolved, and how they've grown, and how they've advanced, and where they've been able to help humanity by their own experience.
Yes.
So I was approached for my story, which is very long and I won't explain, but the rainbow story is a part of it, just a part of it. And I was approached. They wanted me to collaborate in this book and take a chapter from this book, and I did, and I was very proud of it. And it's a lovely. We're going to put the link on this if anybody wants to read the books. There's lots of different ones, and they can all be downloaded as well. But honestly, it was just so lovely to be invited to do that. And we know the power of mediumship, how it can change people's lives. And the book itself is stories of people that have come from the darkness into the light, and their contribution to the world now, and how they've come on, and how many people have helped, and all the things they've done from that very, very dark moment where they've come up, and how profound it is. By all those people, you would never have been able to help had you not been here.
Yeah.
And it's just an amazing little book. It's a lovely pocket book, and I'm just very proud to have taken part of it.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing. I
People
love
keep
it.
telling me to write my own book, but I've not really felt inspired. Maybe one day.
No, it's such a lengthy process, like a chapter
Yes.
something, a book's another.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the person proving it.
Yeah, exactly. But another thing that we were talking about is I know that you're building a centre. So talk to us about your amazing centre.
Yes. So about 2 years ago, I work from home. So very much like yourself, Anna, you've got a space within your home. And I have a conservatory at the back of my house, and it links into a snug. So it's like a big sort of rectangle, and I use that space. And I've done all my one-to-ones there. I've done public demos there. I've done evenings, events there, paranormal nights. I've done all sorts of stuff, spirit art, everything. And it become a big space, but it's in my home. And although my husband and my family are incredibly supportive, my daughter lives with us, and we have a grandchild who's 7 months old. And until she gets her own space, our grandchild is taking over. But I absolutely love it, so I'm not even complaining. But I'd already started with the process 2 years ago, that she was living at home, and I'm getting strangers coming through the front door, into the back of the house, or around the back of the house and into the house. And it's a home. So what do I do, and how do I balance this out? And I have the most amazing supportive husband who, Jeff was like, you need to do what you need to do, and what you do is amazing, and I have not got a problem. But he would come home from work after working all day and traveling, and then he would have to go upstairs and have his meal while I had people in the living room waiting to come into the back. And it just, after 5 years, it's like it's time for something new now. So Spirit at the Christmas, not this Christmas, the previous Christmas, so that would be 18, showed me a retirement date for my husband, and a retirement date I'd already had, but that I could basically, the funds would come, and there would be a way of funding this situation. And I was seeing, it was seen by several people, kept saying to me, you're going to set up some kind of centre, you're going to kind of set up some business or something outside of your home, but it's part of your home, and it's going to be amazing, and so on and so on and so on. And I kept, it keeps being on repeat, as we touched on before. And I thought, this is in my mind, and it's something I need to consider. So me and my husband had a conversation, and in February this year, we started the process. He gets to have a bit of his own space in there, and I've taken up like 20 foot by 10 foot of space, and he's got 14 foot. So I know, but he was great about it, because he's retired. He retired in May, which is incredible. So he retired in May, and he said, okay, as long as I've got my little workshop, when you're in there, I will not be in there, and I'll just create the space for me, and we'll work it together. And I've created this space, and it's today we're currently still working on it. Everything's being, all the plumbing and everything's being fixed today, but it's incredible. And so Spirit just showed me, and they showed me a compass. And when I did the floor plans with the company, they said, we can give you 33.3 feet if that works for you. And I was like, can you just say that again to me, please?
That'll do.
That'll do. Yeah, great. 33.3 foot long and 10 foot wide. I was like, right, yeah, we'll have that. That's wonderful. And we did everything with the architect in terms of where we had doors and windows, and where my doors are. I stood with a compass on my mobile phone, because Spirit showed me, get on your phone, showed me a compass. So I stood there with a compass, and exactly at the doors, in the middle of the doors, when you open the doors up and pull the French doors, and you open the doors and open them up and you stand there, it's 33 degrees. You can't make it up, can you?
I love it though. How comforting.
And the builder who did the base for us, he was so kind. I went outside with a big bag of crystals and said, I need to put crystals in these foundations. And he was like, well, I've had coins going in there, I've had bones going into some of the foundations, so absolutely, where do you want them? Point and I'll put them in. So he allowed me to put all my crystals into the foundations. So it's got crystals in the foundations. It's underneath a beautiful sycamore tree, which is very spiritual. And it's just this amazing space at the bottom of my garden, which people can come in now, and they can go in there, and I can offer them everything I've been able to offer in my home. I've got all lights outside, I've got all plants, Buddhas, all sorts of things, and it's going to be very botanical. And the whole space is being created with Spirit in mind, so that I can work from this space and others can work from there as well, and offer their services, and offer, you know, if I want to have demonstrations by other mediums, and give them an opportunity to have a foot pot, you know, to be able to stand there, and even developing mediums, so that it gives them something intimate, so they can help them. I want to help as many people as I can, and that's the whole point of it. So it's going to be amazing, and it was going to be opened, and it still is going to be opened, because I'm still going to do the grand opening, but I'll do it on live. I'll do it live on the page, because obviously I won't be able to do it in the flesh, so to speak. I'm still going to make it official, and I'm going to, you know, ask people to just watch this space when we can fully open it to everybody. But it's been 2 years in the making and 2 years in the planning, and it's finally coming to fruition, and I'm so pleased. And as my friends keep reminding me, it won't just be a centre, it'll be a B&B, it'll be a place to put the fridge for the beer on the house parties, you know. And I'm at it, no, it's a sacred space, can't have alcohol.
That's what your husband's
the only for, isn't it? Yeah, the only spirits in there are going to be the spirits that you got. Yeah, so honestly, and I'm so excited about it, Anna. It's just, you know, I'm so proud as well, because Spirit are amazing, and you know, and they really do encourage me, and when they do, it just kind of flows. Now, during the whole of the lockdown, I've still been able to create the space, which is incredible, because the people have had to work for me have been trusted workmanship, and they've not been in anybody's space. They've been independent, they've brought their own flasks, they've worked from the space. I've not been anywhere near them. Yeah. It's been a doorstop conversation to a doorstop. I've been very respectful because of what's been going on, and it's just been brilliant. And the last, you know, obviously, because builders have been able to work now for the last 5 weeks, and it's been incredible, and it's just carried on. And yeah,
amazing.
It'll be nearly finished, and then we get to do the good stuff, don't we, when we fill it?
Yeah, lovely. How exciting. Woo! Right, well, we've run out of time.
I know. Where does it go?
I know, amazing. So quickly. But I've loved talking to you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. Yeah, and you know, all that personal stuff that you really share, but it's really inspirational. Amazing. Thank you very much, Bev. And Bev is tagged on this live, so if you want to follow her, pop over to her page and have a look.
Yeah, lovely. Have a great day, and thank you everybody for watching. And we're still at the end of the summer solstice, so the energy is still high today. So if you get a chance, like me, you're gonna have to be doing some serious anchoring in, because the energies have been amazing this weekend. So I'm still gonna wish everybody a happy summer solstice.
Lovely. Thanks so much, Bev.
Take care, darling.
Bye.
God bless.